Hey guys, it's Julie, and if you're not up to date, I am a student at AU Arts, which is Alberta University of the Arts and Design, but we don't really add that in the name. But yeah, so today I wanted to come in and show you guys how I got into AU Arts and the process of applying and everything like that. This is not sponsored by them whatsoever. I am not even an ambassador of my university. I hope to be next year, but we don't that's not the case right now. I just wanted to share this information because it would have been much more helpful if this video existed back when I first applied and I wanted to see what are the standards, what got into university, what wouldn't necessarily go in. I still wonder up until this day how I even got accepted because I look back to my art and I'm just like, this is full of errors. But they don't really expect you to draw anatomy perfectly or having everything like on scale and being like a master at everything, because it is an educational institute, an education institution in the end. So they still want to be able to like teach you something without having you leave halfway through, and because you feel like you're not learning anything, you know everything already. So yeah, let's get on with the video. Since I applied and I've sent that portfolio last January, I don't necessarily remember what the order is, but I do have a picture of how I sent them. So I'll be showing that instead of the actual pieces. Some I will be showing the actual pieces, but yeah. Anyways, first you need to be able to make sure that they are on a white background to be able to showcase the actual colors and like make sure that they're vibrant enough. I did also edit the pictures a little bit, the pictures of my drawings just a tad bit, because my camera wasn't the best, and so like the colors would be more vibrant as I said, but you need to make sure to not over edit them because it will be very obvious. Like one of the drawings, I can show it to you right now. That one, it is that was a piece where I discover proportions and warped proportions to be more specific. They do expect to have a few black and white drawings in your portfolio, and for each piece you need a title and a little description, which is the usual and is common for a lot of the other portfolios, other art institutions. I did also only apply to AUR, so I don't really know about the specifics of other art universities. One had to be observational, at least one has to be observational, and another one has to be a your process. So like a bunch of pictures from your sketchbooks that are not necessarily complete drawings, but they are what your thought process is, because they want to see how you think and what brings you to your finished piece. So after this piece, I also did a painting, because you need to show that you're capable to use different mediums and show that you are capable to do a lot more than just a specific skill, and that you're willing to learn different things. I hope that like it doesn't glare too much since it is acrylic and acrylic is shiny. But yeah, it shows a lot of concepts of drapery from the drawing, from the drapery of the dress on the girl, and a little bit of anatomy with like the hand and like the body shape. Even though a lot of it is still hidden by the dress, it does still show that concept. It shows that I'm able to do some kind of gradient in the back. The background is actually watercolor and not acrylic, which is okay to mix in mediums they won't really know, they won't really care, honestly, just as long as your finished piece is cohesive. Another tip is to try to diverse your jars. Other than like representational and symbolic paintings, um, I did also a grotesque piece. Grotesque doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be um, no, not it wasn't grotesque. It was another fantasy piece. I don't remember if it's under abstract or not. I actually have to double check what I wrote in the comment. Um, but it's this piece with this girl with like the and there's an eye in her hand, and this one was also just me playing around with colors, trying to branch out from just using my usual beige skin tones and trying to diverse it with more darker skin tones. I would have preferred to be more confident with my color and go with a darker tone over than this one. But then this also shows that I'm able to, like, it shows another concept of anatomy, which is still very important. I realized a lot of it was me showing a bunch of anatomy, but it also here shows my skills with watercolor, because this whole piece is watercolor except the eyelash, it is done by pen, and then the white freckles, it is also done by a gel pen. Say hi to the cat. um so yeah, it also was me playing around with some different highlights and shades, trying to figure out the different parts of lighting, because that's a very important part of it. It is you need to show that you're able to understand different concepts and put them all into one piece. Yeah, I'm still very nitpicky with my drawings, and then in the end when I look back at it, I'm just like, I wish I would have done it better, I would have done it differently. But then that also shows that I've learned quite a bit already from aorts and throughout the time in the summer when I was still kind of drawing. The next one I believe is of a girl sitting on a mushroom. It was me, I was playing around with symmetry and different textures. It will, I will, I don't fully remember what it's called, but there's an art style where you just fill up your page. You don't have any negative space. You just keep adding more and more and more to it, that it's like it's so overwhelming you don't know where to look at. I didn't do that great of a job in it because you still have a subject, which is the girl, and that's where you concentrate the most, and then you go into the background. But then I still really liked how I was able to incorporate black and white and colors at the same time as almost a full body anatomy. There's another one where I delved into a little bit of 2-point perspective. I didn't do that great of a job in it, obviously, because I did use a ruler, but I didn't really use a ruler while doing it. So I didn't actually follow the points properly. I really just blind did it. Although this one was more of a this was more of me playing around with texture, and with especially the wood, I put a lot of details and time into it. I think that was the longest time. Like, it took me about 2 hours to finish the whole detailing of the wood, and the water painting was the easiest part, honestly. I played around with shades into it, as well as the direction of the wood carvings. Well, not carvings, the wood details. I liked how it turned out with like the different shades of the bowls, like from blue with a little bit of purple, I think it has, which is pretty cool. And honestly, I think when I did the because we had a portfolio review day before the time we actually hand in our portfolio, so with that, I think that was my best piece out of them all, where like I got the most a compliment on, and she told me how much she like the different things she liked in it and stuff. And I really recommend you going on those portfolio review days, because with my next piece, the observational piece, which is this one, which is a drawing I did of my dad the night before the review day. Um, she gave me the tip of using an actual like black pencil instead of just graphite to make those areas darker and show up more in the picture. This piece, it it was quite challenging because I was like doing it in the middle of the night and it was pretty dark and my dad kept on moving. But yeah, I ended up like he kept on asking me to draw him a portrait, and I finally did. What's that exactly? Only a yeah. Um, and I finally did. So I don't think I did the best job because I find it a little awkward to draw him. And I don't like drawing real life people that actually exist because it never ends up looking exactly like them. And then I am not that great with critique. But yeah, this one ended up being a little simpler because it it wasn't very important for it to be very perfect. It was just to show that you're able to draw what you're looking at and put it in perspective to each other. And it's not like you have super tiny feet and a huge head. And then after this one, I did another cartoony-ish drawing. What I was trying to do was trying to get like the fingertips to be like whenever someone's reaches out and it's like a curved screen, you can see like the fingertips to be way bigger than like the palm, and then the wrist just gets smaller. You don't sometimes don't even see the rest of the arm, and then the person is far away. So yeah, that was what I was going for, and it was really just like someone reaching out to someone falling kind of thing. Like I wanted to add a lot of emotions into the face and just concentrate on that. I didn't want to add any background because it was the idea of while you're falling, you don't necessarily um, visualize everything that's happening. You just see whatever is in front of you because your brain kind of shuts off in that moment. So yeah, I just wanted like it would be the visual of you only concentrating on what the person right in front of you and slowly realizing what's actually happening. Going back to the part where you need to show that you're able to use different mediums, I also showed a sculpture that I made in class. It was this mask made out of clay. So technically now it's like ceramic because it was blown. I really covered it with paint and shoe wax, I think it's called. It is like it's black and some brown into it, and then I used some pens. It's not acrylic pens, it's just like your cheap pens from Dollarama with so I had the silver and the gold just to add some colors to it. The silver shows I wanted to use it as if the mask was actually made out of metal and not clay. So I wanted to put it as if it was worn out and it had been used a lot, and like the paint is scraping off. For stuff like that or 3D like this, it is very important to show like different perspectives of it when you're putting in your portfolio. So like you take a picture of the front, the side, and then the other side, and then you put it onto one PDF file and just put it in. Another piece that I also put is this one with the girl on the moon. This one was with me playing around with more colored pencil because, as I said, I wasn't, as you have seen, a lot of my other pieces were either graphite, watercolor, or acrylic. And then there's also the sculpture one. But most of them were really just painting. So this one was pencil. And yeah, I wanted to play around with the drapery of the dress as well and delve more into like body positivity, I guess. Instead of going for my usual skinny or stick thin person, I went for someone who is a little more curvy. And I believe that the last piece that I put in my whole portfolio, or like for the art pieces part of the portfolio is this part. It is a zoomed up look of the calligraphy of J, which is like the first letter of my name, and added with some extra pieces, extra drawings on the outside to make it look like it was never actually the zoomed up look of the letter J, which was like the whole point of the project. That one also was with me playing with a little bit of texture with the wood markings, and then it was with playing with the contrast of with like the outline. I believe that is one of my favorite pieces when just like you look at and you can just imagine different things coming from it. And like for the person who was reviewing my portfolio, not like examining it, reviewing it before the deadline, she first thought it was like waves kind of thing, and then just like the concept of like the fine arts idea of it, where like there's logs thrown into the sea and then there's just the waves washing it back and forth kind of thing, which I find it really cool because that wasn't necessarily what I was going for. I was just playing around with the texture because at the time I had just started, I had just learned how to do it, and I was just like doing it everywhere I could. After all the pieces of your portfolio, you have chosen your 12 pieces, you go on to writing a little, it's not necessarily an essay because it's really short. I think it's like, it was 500 words, or less, because it was like a certain amount of words, a maximum amount of words, and you had to talk about why you're going into AU arts and why you want to, um, why do you want to draw, why you want to go into that field, and what are your plans in the future kind of thing, just to see like what kind of person you are, just to know a little more about you, who they're accepting into their institution, which to me makes sense. um Most people that I know that are going in, that got into it, also BS it just like I did. I kind of like reread it like 3 times because I was just stressed about making stupid little mistakes, and I made a mistake in the title. Yeah. When like I don't even understand how I did that, but yeah, I did a mistake in the title, and good thing I caught it because that would have been really embarrassing. I think that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about a portfolio, or you want a little bit of a critique, or like any extra ideas, don't hesitate to text me through Instagram or even put it down in the comments below. Other than that, please subscribe and press the bell button so you'll know when I post. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you again next time. Bye!